Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to your live Investment Dominator Q&A call. My name is Warren Davis, and it is a bright Monday. It's Labor Day. It is the 7th of September, Monday, 7th of September, 2020, 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, and we're here to get your questions answered. Hopefully, this being a Monday, as you all are probably aware, we will have the big three that we will go through today to begin the first part of our webinar, primarily for the beginners that were joining us here maybe for the very first time. And hopefully, real quickly, if you could, I would appreciate someone letting me know if you can see my screen, you can hear my voice okay. It seems like my indicators are showing that you can. I'll have up on the screen right now the LPG deal flow. And for those of you that are joining us for the very first time, we of course want to welcome you. And for those of you that have been on and come back a week after week, we definitely want to say welcome to you and happy Labor Day. Hope you all had a great day. This has been a little unusual, as you know, because of the pandemic and everything that's been happening in our society here for the last several months. So it's kind of strange having a Labor Day where you're not over eating barbecue or hanging out with the family as normal. And I know for us that's the way it's been. It's been kind of quiet. But anyway, we're glad to be here. And we're going to start here by making sure that those of you that are here for the very first time can bring in your questions successfully. We will, of course, after we're done with the first part of our webinar, which is handling the big three items that we want you to have set up in your Investment Dominator prior to doing any business or prior to basically coming to a 2-day workshop. We're going to start that first, and then we'll go into the backlog questions we have from last week and hopefully catch some questions we have today. We'll do our best to get these caught up. We were going to cancel the webinar, but we thought, well, we better not do that because we want to basically take care of the backlog of questions that we have and make sure we keep moving forward here. So we're glad you're here. Hopefully there will be more that are joining us. But if you want to send in your questions, those of you that are brand new, please look at your control box, type in your question here in the question box, and hit send. Don't worry about raising the hand because I normally don't see that with several of you in the room and asking questions at the same time. It would help me if you could put a question mark or the word question and state your question that you have specifically with regarding whatever it is you're asking, so that I make sure I know it's a question and I can distinguish between that and a comment. That helps me a lot, okay? So we're going to kick things off here and go into our Investment Dominator. And as we forestated, the first part of our webinar today will be handling what we call the big three in our land deals area. And this is one account I have up here. I'm going to open up another account. And want to keep in mind too that we do have several different mindsets on the call with us today. And so we want like everyone to be patient with getting your questions answered. We'll do our best. The situation is, we have individuals that have already come through the Investment Dominator 2-day workshop successfully and have been using the system for a while. And then we have those that are brand new. Some of folks that may be on with us today just got the Investment Dominator last week. And so these are brand new folks, and we want to welcome them as well and entertain any questions that you may have. Those may be a little bit more basic than the ones of those of you that have been using the system for a while. And we appreciate having both because, it handles all the various spectrum of questions that we'll get in the Investment Dominator. Then we also have questions coming in through our ticketing system. If, let's say, you have questions, tomorrow or the next day, we want to invite you to always go up under help and to create a support ticket. Create a support ticket, and you can always put in your question here. Those of you that are brand new, and you can send your question in to the technical group, and a lot of times those questions get to me as well. So you create a support ticket, but I want you to supply as much detail as you can around your ticket and around your question, so that create a lot of context around your question. Even set up, hey, I'm going in, I'm trying to, print out an offer, or I'm importing data for the first time, whatever it is, but make sure you let the technical group know exactly what you're doing and where you have a question, so that we can be clear on giving you an answer. Okay, I'm going to go on and get started here. Our big three that we talk about with the Investment Dominator. Prior to you doing business, we want you to have your Investment Dominator set up. Hopefully, all of you have been able to successfully log in. Once you log in, you can see that a tour will pop up. And in the profile area, which is the first area that we want you to have set up, in your profile area, if you want to disable that tour, you can just come over here and say no. So you bring up your profile and you say no, and then you hit update. For your login, the tour will not pop up. And if you want to, if you're done seeing the tour and done going through it, you want to take it off, that's one way to do it. Okay, so for your profile, we want to invite you to put in your first name, last name, a personal email address. This profile now is information that will not be given out to any customers. It won't be given out to any for any marketing purposes. This is basically how the office would know how to get in touch with you if they want to send you an email or if they want to contact you. So this can be a cell phone or it can be a personal home phone number. But as I say, it won't be given out anywhere else. So it's okay to put, your accurate personal information in here. Also your time zone area, so that we know when it's best to call you. Very important that you have your profile set up. Most importantly, we want you to have a signature set up in here, and you are more than welcome to upload a signature if you have one on your system, on your computer. The only thing about uploading is that you have to crop that signature, so you're going to have it sized. If your signature is too large, obviously it's going to make it difficult if you're uploading a signature. For those of you, 90% of you out there, I think, are going to be using the generate signature. All right, this is where you just come in and type in your name and then select one of our fonts. And one question we get all the, consistently, especially lately, can we upload a font of our own, into Investment Dominator? Unfortunately, the answer is no. You have to use one of these selected fonts here. So if you choose something that looks nice, we would like you to do that. And once it's displayed here, you can, if you don't like that font, then just come back and select a different font. Okay, but select one of our fonts here, and if you want to leave it black and white, which is what we recommend, you can do so. If you like to have it color, just use this black color bar, left click or select it, and then choose one of the colors that's on this rainbow colored bar here, and you can go into different shades. All right, but we want you to select the color and then make sure you select the color within that color on the bar, and that's going to actually be the color of your signature, whatever you select there. Then just simply click outside of your signature, and as you can see, it's going to highlight it there. And when you click again, it colors your signature. All right, so hopefully that's clear on how you change your color, and then just say insert signature. Now, Investment Dominator will only allow you to have one signature, all right, so per profile. So it's very important that you select which signature. If you are, let's say, a man and a wife partnership or a man and a wife team that are going to be in the business, we give you the hint that has been tested over the years. A woman's name or a woman's signature on the neutral letters, this is that will go out of Investment Dominator, and that's where the Investment Dominator will pull this signature, and put it on your neutral letters. But we've been told that statistically, women's signatures and women's names do better in terms of the open rate than men's. So if you have a wife or a girlfriend, if you want to use their name, if they're part of your business especially, please feel free to use their name because the open rate is better. But bottom line is we want you to have a signature, and then you'll hit update, and that will put your signature in here as well as keep all of your personal profile information intact. So that we encourage you to do that. All right, and I'm not going to update this so that it doesn't wipe out my signature. So profile, that's the first of the big three that we'd like to have you done. All right, and we are, let's see. Thank you so much. I'm kind of reading a nice little compliment here. Thank you very much, Jason. I appreciate that. Very good. All right. Profile is the first item that we want you to have completed. Next, under customize, we would appreciate you completing your company information. By the way, FYI, if you're wondering when the next 2-day Investment Dominator workshop is, the next 2-day workshop for the Investment Dominator, where you can learn, go through the entire, every aspect of the LPG deal flow as shown here. The next workshop where we cover every single aspect of this LPG deal flow in 2 days. Now this is normally a 3.5 month process. We're going to complete it in 2 days. But the next one we're going to have will be October 7th and 8th. That is a Wednesday and a Thursday. Just in case you're wondering, and if you'd like to get signed up, please feel free to call our office. If you need to know the number to call our office for customer service to get signed up, just type in that in the, in as a question, hey, what's the number? And it's, they will get back with you quickly and hopefully sign you up for that next 2-day Investment Dominator workshop. We're glad to have you, and I'm sure you will glean a lot from that 2-day workshop. I'm one of the facilitators along with another coach that's been in the business for a long time. Great coach. His name is Jeff Fawcett, and he is, just a fantastic coach and teacher. So he'll be with us on that 2-day workshop as well. So hopefully you'll learn a lot there. If you go under customize, and we want you to get into your company information, this is where we want you to have your phone system set up. Very important to have your phone system set up. I'm going to start first with your company information. So we want you to choose a company email address. Does it have to be a .com where you purchase one from a particular domain provider? No, it does not. You don't have to spend money on your email address unless you so desire and you want a special name. You can set up a Gmail, you can set up a Yahoo email address, if that works for you. But we want you to set up an email address where all of your company correspondence is going to go to when someone emails you. Then we want you to set up a company name. Hopefully you have an LLC set up. If you don't worry about it. Just please set up a company name if you know the name of your company. If you have neither, if you don't know the name of your company and you don't have an LLC, you can simply type in DBA, doing business as, and your first and last name, and that will suffice, temporarily. But we do want you to have a name set up so that you're ready to do business. So in the interim, if you don't, you can put in your own name, DBA, Bill Blass, and that'll be good. Your company address. Make sure this is an address other than your home address. And I'll say that again, any address other than your home address. This correspondence, Investment Dominator will pull this address and it will go out on neutral letters. It will go out on some of your offers that go out of Investment Dominator. So we don't want buyers or sellers knowing where you personally live. trust me, in the future you'll be glad that you did not put your personal um, contact information in there in terms of your address. Make sure you have your address, city, state, and zip, and that will suffice for your company name and information. You don't have to necessarily have an offer email unless you choose to, switch up or have a offer email for any offer correspondence and a selling site email, which are for your buyers. If you want to have a separate email address for that, it just means you'll have to keep track of the 3 different email addresses, because we have one for company email, and this suffices for us. If you have one company email and you do not have an offer email or a selling site email, then the system by default will go to your offer email address. All right, so I'll make sure you understand that. Hopefully, if you don't have an offer email or a selling site email, all correspondence will go to your company email. Otherwise, if you have more than one, then any offer information will go to your offer email. Any selling site information from your actual selling site, which is your buyers, will go to that email. We've often, for our business, we've, over 3 years now, we've just had one email address, and it's worked out, very well. So, but it's up to you if you want to have multiple email addresses. All right. Finally, down to the big one, which is your phone systems. We have your company phone here, and you have your offer phone. Please keep in mind, these are your sellers of property, people that are selling you their property. Company phone and offer phone. Company phone is the first phone number or the first correspondence is associated with your neutral letter that goes out of Investment Dominator. That's where your signature will be on that neutral letter, your company address will be on that neutral letter, etc. And your company phone can be set up with a company called Ring Central. Ring Central allows you to have one phone number and 2 extensions, extension 1 and extension 2. All right, so the company phone is associated with your neutral letters. First correspondence that goes out of Investment Dominator to tell people, hey, I'm interested in purchasing your land. The offer phone, once they respond, people respond to your neutral letter, they'll say, hey, yeah, I'm interested in getting an offer on my property. Then you will swing into action. You will calculate the market value for that property, and you will put an offer on that. And then you will send out your offer out of Investment Dominator. And that offer will have on it an associated offer phone. So if you're using Ring Central, you have one number and 2 extensions, extension 1 and extension 2. All right. Your voicemail will be something like, okay, this is XYZ company. Sorry, we cannot take your call in person, but please press 1 if you're interested in selling us your land. So they just received a neutral letter. Press 2 if we've already sent you an offer and you would like to discuss that offer or accept that offer. So this is extension 1, or they press extension 2. Now, if they press extension 1, hopefully that will be forwarded to a company called Pat Live. Pat Live is a call center along with Smith AI. Keep in mind, Pat Live is a call center. So they take phone calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is a separate company from Ring Central, which is a phone system. So Ring Central is going to give you a phone number, one number, 2 extensions. Pat Live will also give you a phone number, just one phone number. So you have to set up an account with Pat Live, and you must set up an account with Ring Central. These are 2 separate companies though. That's a common question we get. It's not the same company. So when the customers press extension 1, it gets forwarded to your Pat Live number. Then a Pat Live representative or Smith AI representative or callme.com representative picks up the phone and says, hey, this is XYZ company, how can we help you? And then they swing into action and fill in your Investment Dominator accordingly. That's extension 1. Extension 2, the customer is calling you back because you've sent them an offer and they want to accept that offer or discuss the offer. That can be forwarded once they hit extension 2, that can be forwarded to a Google Voice number or a Skype number. So remember, it's one phone number, 2 extensions. And it looks, for a picture, it looks something just like this here. We have one phone number, one local number RingCentral will give you. Press 1, it's forwarded to Pat Live. Press 2, it's forwarded to a cell phone that you designate, or a Google Voice number, or it's forwarded to a Skype number, whatever number you might designate for extension 2. Now this third part over here, we're going to get to that in a moment. That's a second number that RingCentral can give you. That will be associated with your selling site phone. Okay? Your selling site phone are your buyers of property. So this is where people are going to buy property from you for thousands of dollars based on how you mark it up close to market value. And this is a separate number. Now we want to make sure that you understand that your selling site number must be completely separate from your offer phone or your company phone, because you do not want, these are two different markets of people. Your sellers, they're selling you their property for pennies on the dollar, right? You are then going to determine the market value, and you're going to mark that property up thousands of dollars. So your buyers of property, people that come into your selling site, your buyers of property now are going to pay thousands of dollars more. So you don't want your buyers coming through your seller phone lines and maybe having to hit extension 3 or whatever, because these are two different markets of people. You want to keep them completely separate. So RingCentral can supply you with another local phone number, and that can be forwarded to your cell phone if you like. All right, and this local number would correspond to your buyers of property. I want to make sure that that's clear. Now, so a common question we get, is there anything other than RingCentral? Do we have to use RingCentral? No, you do not have to use RingCentral. You can set up, this could be Pat Live's number in here, or Smith's AI number, and that would be one number that would answer your call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Or it can be your own business line if you want to take your own neutral letter calls. That can be your number as well. Then your offer phone, if you have another cell phone laying around and you don't mind using it to dedicate it to your offers, there can be a separate phone number here for that other cell phone that you have laying around, and that can be a separate number altogether. So this is Pat Live's number. This could be a separate cell phone number. Then you could have another separate number, a separate phone line, business line, that's completely separate from your, obviously from Pat Live, and it's completely separate from your offer phone. And that can be another cell phone that you designate. We recommend that you designate one for your buyers. Do not give out this number to family or friends or associates. Only people that want to buy property from you should have this number. So that can be another configuration that you set up. Totally up to you. So you can have this configuration with RingCentral, one phone number, 2 extensions, and then another local phone number. You can also have this set up with RingCentral, where they give you 3 separate phone numbers. Now I'll let you know right now, this is a little bit more expensive than the other configuration, but it's up to you. You can have 3 separate phone numbers from RingCentral. I don't know how much more expensive this is, but it is more expensive. So if your budget allows that, you can have that set up. Okay? Or you can have what I just described. You can have 3 separate numbers all together set up, and then you'll direct them wherever you want to direct them. Important to remember here is once you set up your company phone, your offer phone, and your selling site phone, it's crucial that you test this phone system out. Don't just depend on Ring Central to have forwarded everything properly. You want to test out. You want to call this line just like a customer would call and make sure that it goes to the right person. If you're supposed to pick it up, it should go to your cell phone. If not, Pat Live, somebody on Pat Live should answer. And test it out and make sure they put the proper information into your Investment Dominator. Then pretend you're a person that has received an offer and you call back and you hit extension 2 if you're dealing with Ring Central, or make sure it goes to the right cell phone number if you're using a different cell phone number. Then pretend that you're a buyer and goes right to your buyer phone, you know. But you want to test out your phone lines before you start doing business. Can't tell you how many unfortunate students have set up think they've set up their phone lines, and then when customers start calling, they're losing phone calls because they're not routed to the proper person, and basically they don't get a lot of those calls. All right, so we don't want that to happen to you, so please test out your phone lines. Finally, you want to make sure that you set up your company time zone here, whatever your time zone might be, in your company information, and specify if you are a real estate agent or a broker. Please say yes here. And that will complete your company information. You hit update site. Make sure you get the green site is updated message, and that's your company information. Now, the third one that we want to make sure that you have covered here prior to doing business or using the Investment Dominator, prior to coming to a 2-day workshop. So if you'd be coming to the next one in October, you'd have to have this done hopefully by the first week in October. We want you to set up your buying and selling site domains. Investment Dominator gives you 2 free sites. One site we've already stated would have a buying site page come up, look something like this. This is just basically one theme. You can have a legacy theme, but this is one that comes up. Some people don't like this one because it has different individuals showing up. They're not comfortable with that, so you might want to use our legacy theme. But you do get a free buying site where people that want to sell you their property, sell their land, would come to this site. We also give you a selling site, so people you're going to sell property to. It starts off with an opt-in page, which is basically collecting the first and last name, an email address. Anybody that wants to see the deals that you have available, they will come through the opt-in site. All right, and that works very well. So you capture this information. It's going to go into your marketing session as a prospective buyer, and that's why we have this, but this is associated with your selling site. All right, so once they put in their name and their email address, they will be allowed at that point to see any deals that you have up for sale, any of your listings. They will be able to come to this page and see the listings so that they can then browse and hopefully purchase one of these and put thousands of dollars into your pocket. So what we want you to have is under your websites, there's looks like three different sites, but it's really only a buying site and a selling site. So we want you to select a domain name for your buying site and one for your selling site. To do so, keep in mind a buying site domain name might be www.leonardbuysland.com or www.joebuysdirt.com, something like that. But you want to make sure those domains are available. You want to purchase them. We're recommending that you use GoDaddy.com. Now, if you don't want to use GoDaddy as a domain provider, you don't have to. They're reasonable in price, $11.99 for an entire year for your domains. So you could have your domain set up with GoDaddy for $12. That could be your domain's cost. We want you to have a buying site name and a selling site name. Selling site name, an example would be www choice land for you, or www paradise land for you. Or you could have the name of your company, you know, vintage enterprise land.com, something like that. Just the name of your company can be a good selling site name. Important for you to come into the domain provider, GoDaddy or REI Black Book, or what's the other domain provider people use, Namecheap, and simply type in your domain. Okay, land.com. All right, so we want you to make sure you type it in here and search for that domain. And leonardbuysland.com is available. And so this would tell you that even before you contact GoDaddy and ask them to purchase that domain. But the important thing is to get a domain name, then purchase it. And if you use GoDaddy, we're going to invite you to look under help. If you decide to use GoDaddy, search our user guide, type in the words custom domains. It's going to bring up a series of articles. We want you to select the second article, how to change your website's domains, custom domains. Left click there. It's going to give you a series of instructions on GoDaddy.com on exactly how you're going to point the www CNAME record, which is a CNAME record on the GoDaddy.com, to our InvestmentDominator.com server. It's very important that we do that if you're going to configure your sites. Those of you that are not using our built-in sites, you have another step you're going to make, but you're still going to have to point to our our InvestmentDominator.com server. I won't get into that right now, but basically those of you that are going to be using the given sites that we provide, you want to come to this. How do you point? How do you change your website's domains? You want to find this instruction list, go into GoDaddy.com. Once you've purchased the domains, I can't stress this enough, the first thing you need to do is purchase the domains, because then GoDaddy will give you a username and password, or Namecheap will give you a username and password. Once they do, and you've purchased your domain, you can then sign in to either GoDaddy or Namecheap. And once you sign in, you will come up under the My Products. All right, under My Products, it'll default there. And that shows you just what this says. It can come up under the My Products tab. And what you're going to want to do is you want to select Manage next to the domain that you want to configure, or when you're logged in, you'll select the domain that pops up. They've changed their display here a little bit, but no, here's the other part I'm looking for. So if you want to just scroll down, you can see the domain that you want to configure. You hit Manage, the Manage box, and it's going to bring up that domain. The next step is, under the DNS tab, select Manage Zones. So under DNS here, all right, come on here, there we go, Manage Zones. A search box is going to come up, and you just simply start typing in that domain, select that domain. Your records section is going to come up. All right, under records, very important that under the records section, you do want to select the pencil next to the CNAME record that's associated with www. You'll see on here there's a series of CNAME records. You want to select the one here that is associated with www, and you're going to hit this pencil over here to the right. All right, so once you do that, you will see a box just like this, kind of grayish box that comes up. Now host www, and in here, and then points to, it will have an ampersand or an @ sign. You want to backspace that out. So yours is going to look like this because it's brand new. It's going to have an @ sign there. So you want to backspace that, type in the words investmentdominator.com, lower space, no spaces, just as you see here. Under TTL, select custom. And then under seconds, you want to put in 600 seconds. That equals 10 minutes. Has to do with the timing out feature and how long this will stay attached to the investmentdominator.com server. So once you select that and you configure the CNAME record, you hit save. It will then look like mine does here with investmentdominator.com, 600 seconds. Okay. Finally, after you've completed that, you're almost done on the GoDaddy side. You want to come down and set up a forwarding. What a forwarding does, folks, is today when people type in their domain name in your domain name in their address bar of their browser, they do not put www.leonardbuysland.com. They just put leonardbuysland.com. The forwarding ensures that www.leonardbuysland.com is executed. So we want to make sure that that forwarding is set up on the GoDaddy side or on Namecheap, etc. So that www.leonardbuysland.com. When you say add on the forwarding section, it's going to come up a box just like this. You want to forward it to www. whatever your domain name is .com. Very, very important. It's already defaults to permanent 301 and it defaults to forward only. So the next step is, and also defaults to update this name server. So all you do is hit save. You type in www. domain name, hit save. Then you're done on the GoDaddy side. Now, obviously, and your domain will look something like this, www. and whatever the domain name is. Now, obviously, because you have a buying site and a selling site, you're going to come back through this list of instructions here, right? You're going to come right back up. You're going to come through not my products, but you'll do the manage next to the domain that you want to configure, DNS manage zones. You're going to come through this list of steps 2 times, one for the buying site, one for the selling site. Then you're going to set up your forwarding twice, right? One for the buying site, one for the selling site. Then once you're all finished, your next step will be to go back to Investment Dominator and map your domain. All right? Simple, hopefully understandable. Come back here under Customize. You're going to go under Website Settings Buying, and you're going to say Change Your Domain. Finally, change your domain. All you do is type in the domain. You don't have to worry about www, just type in leonardbuysland.com. Click yes. Now that's your buying site name. Click next. No changes here. Click confirm. It's going to spin here for a little bit, but it will come back eventually. Now you're mapping your domain in Investment Dominator, and you're also going to be setting up your security. So when you get here, don't click OK. Do not click OK. Click here to secure your domain. Very important. We give you a free SSL certificate. We actually give you 2 free SSL certificates. One for your buying site, one for your selling site. SSL stands for Secure Socket Layer. And here you're going to have a button that says Generate SSL. This is giving you, it's securing your site so that when people type in or access your site, they see this lock on your site, knowing that your site is secure. You hit OK. Now, when you get back here to the screen, you're not done yet because your domain will not have displayed until you scroll to the bottom, hit Update Site. Okay, so you've done that for your buying site. You're going to come back and do the same thing for your selling site. Change your domain, type in your domain, click yes, click next, click confirm. And when it does come back, make sure you do not hit OK. You want to only hit secure your domain. Okay, so very important that you keep that in mind. And as it takes us a minute here, it didn't used to take this long. But anyway, do not hit OK. Click here to secure your domain. Generate your SSL. It spins for about 10 seconds. Click OK. Now scroll to the bottom. Hit update site. Okay, so this particular recording will not be available for maybe until next week. So if you want to see everything I just shared with you, come up under help, weekly live Q&A training calls, and say over here, click here to view the replays. So you come back here and click to view the replays. Click any Monday. So this was last Monday's webinar. You select it, and we have what are the big 3 setup requirements. There's a video over here to the right, starting 3 minutes 40 seconds. Just slide the bar over to 340, and you can hear about signature and profile all over again. You could hear tonight about company info, 8 minutes and 30 seconds into this video. I'm talking about setting up company information. And then finally your domains, 20 minutes, 20 seconds, sliding the bar, and you can hear this all over again. So this is the 831, so this was last Monday. You're more than welcome to revisit this at your leisure, okay? So those are the big 3 items: your profile, your company information under customize, and then finally setting up your buying and selling sites. With that, you'll be ready for the Investment Dominator and as well as doing business. I'm going to quickly see if we can capture some of the questions that we've had from last week even, and I'll get to the questions today if at all possible. So question that Dan had hit a bit more of a business question. What do you do when a potential buyer insists upon using their attorney to close a deal? Do you do a double close? Okay, that's a business question. Hopefully I can answer in a succinct manner here. What do you do? A potential buyer. So you've got land for sale, and a potential buyer comes in to your selling site. They see a deal that they want to buy the property, but they want to use their attorney to close the deal. So a particular scenario that this student had, he had a piece of land under contract. He had sent out some what we call neighbor letters, and basically this person wants to use their attorney, and he wants to do a double close, which means if you do a double close, his attorney would find out how much you paid for this property that you might be selling it for him. This one here is $12,000. Well, he might find out, he's going to find out if you do a double close that you paid, let's say, $800 or $900 for that property, and you're selling it to his client for $12,000, or you're selling it to his client for $20,000, whatever. You don't want that situation. So what I'd recommend is the answer to that is when he insists upon using his attorney, especially to do a double close, you tell him, no, thank you. You're going to use your attorney, and your attorney will close with you and your seller, right? Because you're going to buy the property first. Then his buyer will come along, and his buyer can use him to close with you because you are now going to be the seller of the property since you bought it. That way it keeps both transactions separate, and your seller, or excuse me, your buyer will not find out how much you purchased this property for until after he's already given up his money, he's already purchased his property, and it's already in his name. Then he could go back and look in the county records if he wants and find out that you paid $1,000 or $800 for that property. and he paid you 12 grand. So that's the answer to that question. You don't want a buyer to come in and use his attorney to double close on a deal where you are concerned. Hope that makes sense. There's kind of a mouthful there. So we had a question last week from Tom, I think it was Tom Dickey, that had a question. Where do I find info? At least I think it was Tom. Where do I find info? I have to write down my questions here. Info on how to put in multiple properties and the same seller. Okay. To put in multiple properties and the same seller. Okay, how do we do that? Well, under your land deals area, it's pretty simple. We'll go over this again. I don't think there's an article on this, but in any case, under the prospect stage, if you find a buyer, let's say that, a seller, not a buyer, a seller that has multiple pieces of property. Let's say Glenn Narvaez has multiple parcels. All right, you're going to edit his record. And simply, if he's got more than one parcel, all you do while you're editing his record is you want to hit this add additional property here. Okay? Add additional property. By adding additional property while you're in his record, it's going to automatically use his first name, last name. It's going to copy again his contact information. All of this information is going to be duplicated. His mailing address. Now, when it comes down to the property information, this is going to be blank. Okay? So if I was going to add another record that he have, I would say add additional record. It's going to use the same owner ID, which is for Glenn Narvaez, and it's going to give me another. It's going to update the property ID number up here. So that's going to be a separate property. And as you can see, what is the parcel number? It's going to be a different parcel number, right? And you'll have to specify the county, give a legal description, and all this information regarding the property now is going to have to be filled in. So this is the way you would create a different record. And then obviously when you update that record, and if we go back out, then Glenn Narvaez should have another record here, a brand new record. You can see there's no information filled out except for whatever I filled out. So, but this particular new property ID is now going to be associated with Glenn Narvaez. You'll notice if we edit this record here, it has 18084, which is his unique owner number. That number's there. So that's how you do it. And if I edit this one, 18084, again, that's his owner ID, but it's a different property ID. That's how you do it. And of course, if you had a third property, you just hit add additional property again once you're editing in his record and his information gets duplicated again. Okay. I hope that's clear. I'm going to delete this so that it doesn't mess up our data here. Okay. Okay. Let's see if I could pull one of those. Okay, got some questions coming in here now. Wow. Okay, Daniela, and so we have another question from Thomas Dickey. Seems to be offline now. This is a very specific question from Daniela. I'm going to have to get that after I can read all of that. All right, and if I don't get it today, Thursday we will have an entire hour to cover everything. So I will make sure I get your question read and answered, ready to answer it on Thursday's call, and you'll be able to when that call gets. Hopefully you'll be on the call. It's 12 noon Pacific. And Dean, I notice you have a question here coming in. I'm going to get these backlogs here, and hopefully I can get to yours in the time we have left. All right, Gidget. Gidget asked a question about notes. In the notes tab, okay, this is pretty straightforward and easy to answer, at least right now. Is there a way to print out the amortization schedule or amortization schedule? Yes. All right, schedule. And I can answer that quickly. Gidget, there is not a way, especially from within Investment Dominator, because we're not generating that, at least to my knowledge. We're not. It could be an update that has already been put in. But under the notes section, if you have a note here and you edit this note, all right, and let's just say under the loan information, in terms of the documents that we have, I don't know of a way at this point to generate the amortization schedule. I want to make sure. Let's see if I select this one and I even generate documents. Okay. This might be, these are different agreements, or excuse me, different documents that we have. Loan servicing, late notice foreclosure, late notice due to Exhibit A, and I don't see anything in here, and I have not heard of a place where we can actually generate the amortization schedule for a particular loan or note, lease agreement, etc. So I have to say no on that. We don't currently have that. Sorry about that, Gidget. And some of these items are coming, and we're going to be putting them in place, but we don't have them right now. But in any case, we will keep you posted as to any updates that we do have. Okay. So we have a question here from Sherry, which could be a quick one here. Do I still use the Rebo-Gateway to pull a list? All right. Use Rebo-Gateway to pull. And I'm assuming you're saying the county list. Sherry, no, I personally don't use Rebo-Gateway to pull a list. There's Rebo-Gateway, there's also Agent Pro 247, and I don't use either one of those to pull my county list. I go directly to the county. Now that that said, that's a little more time consuming. Rebo-Gateway and Agent Pro 247 work good, especially if you're testing counties. If you just want to test with 500 records, you know, pulling 500 to 700 records, or maybe even 1,000 records, it's fine to use Rebo-Gateway or Agent Pro 247. You know, where you can also use Data Tree. Data Tree is another one that we're going to be integrating with directly into the Investment Dominator, so you can pull in records and they'll go into prospect status. None of that is set up right now, so Rebo-Gateway or Agent Pro 247 you can use to pull a certain number of records so you can test your counties, and you know, you could have a list by tomorrow evening, right? So that's that is up to you if that's what you want to do. It's not a problem. It's just that you have to understand the certain dynamics that you will have to keep in mind, that even when you pull the data and you want to then import it into the Investment Dominator by choosing your file and uploading the list, that when you pull this data from Rebo-Gateway or from Agent Pro 247, it has to be formatted in a way so that Investment Dominator, and I'll go up under Help, search our user guide, and import. It still has to be formatted so that it comes into the Investment Dominator. How do you import your list for land investing? It's got to be in this format where you have a type field and you have a first name spelled just like this, capital F-I-R-S-T, capital N-A-M-E. Last name. You have to have your 11 required fields here. All right, it has to have this format, and it has to be in a CSV, comma delimited or comma separated file. But these are your 11 fields that you must have looking just like this in your Excel file. So when it comes from Rebo-Gateway or when it comes from Agent Pro 247, it's not ready to just automatically be imported right into your Investment Dominator. Just want you to be aware of that, right? You have to do some formatting. So we usually send it to a VA and they format it for us. So I just don't want you to be, you know, just want you to forget that step there. Yana asked a question last week. And her question was, when the owner writes the power of attorney to the other person, I'm assuming to take care of the sale, whom do we write our offer to? Okay, so when the owner writes the power of attorney, I don't know who this other person you're speaking of, but you're dealing one-on-one with the owner. So, Yana, when you're asking who do you write the offer to, okay? And the answer to that is you're going to always deal with your seller. No matter who the owner writes to, the owner of the property, anytime you do any business with any of these folks that are under prospect status or mailed letter one status, these are your owners of property. When you want to give an owner, excuse me, when you give an offer on this parcel, you're going to always deal with the owner and only the owner, unless the owner directs you to another person, like their realtor or somebody else. That's the only time you deal with another person. Okay, other than that, always interact with the owner only and listen to what the owner tells you at all times. And so that keeps it simple. And so then Sherry asked, is it possible? Okay, and we're about out of time here. Is it possible to format the data of yourself? Yes, it is. The data from Agent Pro 247 or Rebo-Gateway. I'll just put down Rebo-Gateway. Is it possible to format that yourself? Yes, it is. If you are a person that, is pretty skilled with Excel, you can format any of this data yourself. You can put it into um, this format here, and you can save it as a CSV file. That's pretty straightforward and simple. It probably would take you a few hours to do, but you can do it yourself. Um, we did it when we first started, got into business, and we just found out it's just less of a headache. So for like $50, $60, we send it to our VA, and she sends it back to us in Investment Dominator ready format, and it's just easier. It saves us time. $50, $60 is worth our time. So, folks, I'll get the rest of your questions answered for Thursday. Thank you for being on this Labor Day. I want to say again, happy Labor Day, and leave this thought with you here today. Let's see, this is the 7th. So, our greatest fear should not be of failure, but of succeeding at things in life that don't really matter. That's a really good one. That comes from Francis Chan. So, our greatest fear in life should not be the fear of failure, but of succeeding at things in life that do not really matter. So I hope your business matters to you, and I hope you're out there getting out those neighbor letters, getting out those letters, getting out those, I should say, the neutral letters, getting your offers written, and those of you that are brand new, getting into Investment Dominator. And thank you for being here on the call. You want to succeed at this because this will change your life. Have a great evening, great remainder of your week, and we'll see you here Thursday, 12 noon, to get your questions answered. Take care, everybody. Have a great week.